4, 3. They actually are. That's pretty funny.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Sweat presented by DraftKings. I'm Jesse Cofield. We got a lot coming up during this next hour. We're going to talk NFL Week 7, take a look at some salaries. We're talking NBA, obviously. Tip-off coming our way tonight. We got an NHL slate that we got to get to. We're going to talk PGA down in South Carolina this week. But first, it is time to toss it over to my co-host, Emerson Lazio, with Jared Krabbis for the takeoff. Fellas, take it away.
Let's go! Ignite the ignitions. What does that even mean?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Dude,
All right,
listen.
let's talk. We gotta talk.
I am so happy you are here and you are back. How was Seattle?
My legs still hurt, if we're being honest. 6.5 hours. They didn't sit down the entire time. Like, it was a nothing ball game for 17 plus innings. And the entire stadium was on their feet for, I'm not exaggerating, they did not sit down.
Okay.
Like you took sit breaks in between innings.
That's it.
Once you got to like the 15th, people started sitting down in between innings. After that, everyone was just on their feet the entire time.
Can't be that surprised. It's been a while since they've been in this
21 years.
position, had a home playoff game. The fans seem incredible. How were they?
They were very welcoming. They were very nice. A lot of people came up, said hi, it was great, but they were loud. And what I feel robbed of is there was no like explosive moment. Like when we got, I always get chicken fingers everywhere that I go,
Hell yeah.
every single ballpark.
Hell yeah,
I was in
brother.
line to get my chicken fingers before the game, and they were doing the starting lineups. Very, very loud boos for the Astros, loud cheers for the Seattle Mariners, but we never got to hear that big one, that like home run, that run score, nothing. So it pains me that I feel like I was in place to experience something really special, and it was. It's the first home playoff game in 21 years, but I didn't get that like, wow, like look at all this moment.
Yeah.
Like it just didn't happen.
They'll be back. They'll be back in this position.
They'll be back.
Young bats,
Yeah.
powerful bats.
Sure.
Let me ask you this. Have the revamped MLB playoffs made the regular season meaningless?
No.
What do you think? Because there are a lot of fan bases that are worked up right now, saying division winners like the Dodgers, the Braves, and the Cardinals should only be driven from the playoffs after a best-of-7 series.
Yeah, so I mean, I see it from both sides there. Like, I think the issue that you run into is timing. If you're adding another 4 days to the playoffs, if you go best-of-7 in the division series.
Finishing on Christmas.
Yeah, which like I'm not necessarily opposed to that.
Yeah,
like it's
neither
more
am I.
baseball. Like make the season longer. I mean, sure, the players are probably not like super enthused about that idea, but I agree with that. I agree that if you're gonna do the division series and have like the St. Louis Cardinals, the Braves, like all these teams are gone. The Dodgers, a 111 win team.
Crazy.
Maybe make it a best-of-7. But then I come back to, well, the Houston Astros didn't have a problem with the layoff.
Nope.
The Houston Astros didn't have a problem taking care of business in Seattle. So it's just kind of one of those things where do I think that there is some luck involved? Yeah. Like, do I think that if you're a team that gets into the postseason, is it like getting a lottery ticket? Sometimes, yeah. But on the other hand, I don't know. Are we talking about the Phillies? Are we talking about the NLCS?
Yeah. We can go there now.
Yeah.
I have it here in the rundown.
Okay.
We can hit on it.
So the thing about that is people are looking at their regular season records and being like, well, the Phillies were the number 6 seed.
Yeah.
And they were, 22-27. They fired their manager. And then you have the Padres. They finished over 20 games out of first place. Like, that's the NLCS that you want? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it is for me. It's not like the one that I would have like handpicked or preferred, but in terms of what do you look for in a league championship series? I want star power. I'm getting Manny Machado versus Bryce Harper.
Oh, he looked great shirtless.
Yeah, he always does. He always does. Kyle Schwarber's on one side. You got Juan Soto. You have guys that are like faces of the league. Like you have stars on both sides. So I don't care what their regular season records were. Do I care that I can sit down and be like, I know that guy, and I know that guy, and I know that guy, and that guy's fun to watch? Who cares? Who cares what their records are? So I'm getting an NLCS that I'm excited to sit down and watch.
Yep.
And the fans.
Yes.
2 of the loudest ballparks to play in this postseason, San Diego, Philadelphia. It's going to be awesome.
So after 3 100-win teams in the National League getting eliminated, you do have the 2 teams that won 89, 87 games. Like, which one impressed you the most? Like the Padres or the Phillies here in the last round?
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, they were both. What they did was both really impressive. Like knocking off the Dodgers.
It could be both.
Yeah, it is both. I mean, because you look at the path that the Phillies took. Their first playoff win against the St. Louis Cardinals, they had to score 6 runs in the 9th inning to win that game. Like, that's where it all started. Yeah. Like, they started their postseason run in the 9th inning of Game 1 of the wild card round, where they were about to get dusted by St. Louis. Like St. Louis, a lot of people are like, yeah, like, you know, the Cardinals, this is a team of destiny. It's the last season for Wainwright, Pujols, and Yachty. So I think that the Padres have had to go through the better teams. But I mean, knocking off the Braves is not something to like shout down either.
The Phillies are hot as hell right now. Like they're literally playing their best baseball of the season right now. Which one are you taking to advance to the World Series between those two? NLCS starts tonight, baby. Come on. This is on record. There are millions of people potentially around the world watching right now.
There are millions of people watching right now.
This doesn't have to be a hot take. Just tell me what your gut's telling you.
I think I got the Phillies in 7. I got the Phillies.
Love that.
Yeah, I got the
love
Phillies
that.
in 7.
That's sexy.
But again, like if the Phillies are going to win in 7, they're going to have to do it in San Diego, which is going to be tough. But I think it's going to be this is a very well-balanced series. Like, you're not talking about the Dodgers and the Braves, like two powerhouses going head-to-head. But it's not the two best teams in the National League, but it's definitely two very talented teams that are balanced enough to go head-to-head and give you a great series.
I mean, it's pretty even, too, on the odds-wise, like on the DK Sportsbook. Like, Padres minus 120. I mean, Phillies are just right there at plus like 1 to 5, so you can get plus money there on Philadelphia. The next division winner to get knocked out will either be the Yankees or the Guardians. So decisive Game 5 today in the Bronx this afternoon. What is your prediction here? I see that relationship between you and Yankees fans is at an all-time high once again on Twitter.
Yeah, they're very mean.
They are. They looked like normal, like human beings. Not that they're not normal human beings. They looked like they were getting a little soft though yesterday, tossing the rock a little bit with some of the Guardians pitchers.
Yeah.
It was Straw. It was the Straw guy who's giving them absolute crap and hell.
He called them the worst fan base in professional sports, which is
you
true.
know what, they're mending relationships, though. It's a good thing. It's very healthy. So what's your prediction today?
I guarantee the Yankees are going to win today.
You're guaranteeing
I'm guaranteeing it.
Oh, I
the
love
game's
that.
not even going to be close. I think the Yankees probably win this game by 12 to 15 runs. And
wait, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's that big of a blowout?
Yes.
I mean, this is going to be more of a pitching depth kind of performance, right? And don't the Guardians have the edge when it comes to like some pitching depth to get to the bullpen?
You would think that. Not today. No, this is going to be an absolute blowout. The Yankees, I'm guaranteeing. I'm putting the Jared Carrabis seal of guarantee.
I can feel that
on the New York Yankees. And listen, there's no way they lose this game today.
Okay,
0% chance.
So they're going Cortez on 3 days rest here. And there's an interesting fact that the last starting pitcher to win on 3 days rest was your boy David Price with Boston, 2018 ALCS. Since then, starters on short rest, 0-5 and 12 starts.
Yeah, well, Nestor's going to turn it around, baby. Nasty Nestor.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Before you take off, what's the pod looking like for the championship series? Anything sexy or tasty that you can tease for us? I heard y'all were recording until like 2 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, we were. That's what we do.
And Jake said he was up till 4 or 5,
Jake
finishing it off. But I said, Jake, you're like
Jake
12.
grinds.
You can stay up late.
Yeah, no. So I think the plan is to be in Philly this weekend.
What?
Yeah, we're kind of like storm chasers. Yeah, we're kind of like we're looking for the nastiest crowds to be a part of. Obviously, going to Seattle was a lot of fun. It was very loud, but we kept hearing about how loud it is in Philly, and we were like, we got to be a part of that. So the plan is we're going to go to Philly this weekend, and if the Houston Astros have a chance to clinch in the Bronx, then we can go from Philly straight to New York.
Okay, that's it. By the way,
if I have to go to the Bronx this weekend.
Oh, dude,
this might be the last. Hey, it's been a pleasure working with you.
I was going to say, I've had a really good time.
Awesome.
Make sure I am in your will.
Yeah,
I would
no
love
doubt.
one of the 12 TVs on your
Sure,
wall.
you can have them all.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I don't need them. Yeah.
All right, so if you guys are storm chasers, are you Bill Paxton and then Jake is Helen Hunt?
Yeah.
All right. I love you. That was fun.
Hey, that was a good time.
I'm glad we were able to do it. I'm looking forward to today and the Yankees winning by 12 or 15 runs and kind of seeing how it all plays out.
Yeah.
And then you would take Houston or the Yankees in the ALCS?
Houston in 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember me.
Houston in 5. Damn. Yeah, dude, you're done. All right. Rest easy.
Thank you.
Because we have some football to touch on. Jeff Ulrich's going to take a victory lap coming up. Plus, we got a price check. Is Dak back? He says he's going to play Week 7. Is he worth paying up for? Your quarterback spot on those lineups on DraftKings? Let's go. We'll talk about it right after this.
Hey, it's Chirag here with DraftKings to bring you a Week 6 recap of Rainmakers football. Let's jump right away into the Fiat Frenzy. 100K to first place. Winning lineup had Joe Burrow, Ramondre Stevenson, Jamar Chase, Travis Kelce, and Stephon Diggs. Those 5 players equated to 151.80 points for the winner, taking home $100,000 cash and winning that lineup by more than 5 points. So they had this really in the bag after, Stephon Diggs, great touchdown. He had a really awesome performance in that contest. But let's move over to the next one, Aoki All-Star League. This is a bi-weekly contest that goes. The top winner won a Aoki booth experience in Boston. The winner actually won by 3 exact points. Similarly, used Joe Burrow, but then went with Breece Hall. Jamar Chase was the same one as well. Stephon Diggs also in that lineup as the previous one with the 100K. But the other difference, Pittman Jr. Michael Pittman had an amazing game, 13 catches for 134 yards in this contest. The winner was able to take down the Aoki DJ Booth experience and some cash. But last but not least, Sup, we're going with the Sup Ducks. Sly Crocs, winners here, 2K to first place, and Sup Ducks. But the crazy part, you want to look at this here. We had a tie for first place, 151.8 points. That was similar. We mentioned that earlier. That also took down 100K. So, as I mentioned here, but the difference you see, Mark Andrews in this winning lineup, and then Michael Pittman Jr. also, as we saw in the Aoki contest. But then the tie was differentiated with Travis Kelce. Tight ends really doing work this week. And I think that was something you need to keep a lookout for the next coming weeks. Sly Crocs, Sup Ducks, we're going to have exclusive utility chests for this first ever PFP on the DraftKings Marketplace. So make sure to stay tuned.
Oh my God, another disgusting primetime performance here by the Broncos. Are we done? Are we done with the Broncos in
primetime? It looks like a mugshot because he's doing so bad.
This is awful. Wait, you're right. Okay, so, wait. Oh, God, no, that's not primetime slates. I got producer slates on my ear being like, oh, we got the Broncos and Jaguars. No, that's not primetime. That's 9 o'clock in the morning over here. Anyway, that is coming up in 2 weeks.
These are the top fantasy scorers from Monday.
Yeah.
Those are the top scorers.
13 points from Russell Wilson. But do you notice number 4 on that list? Because the name is awfully similar to Jeff Ulrich, who Jeff Ulrich is here and Pierce Dietrich is here. Jeff yesterday with a fantastic call to stuff Greg the Egg inside your lineups. Watch this.
Look it.
We got a $200 tight end in play. Greg Dulcich. He hasn't been confirmed back in. He's still questionable, but they got the safety back in the backfield, and they're looking like they're going to bring Dulcich off IR for this game. This would be a big boost to this offense. Albert O is just basically, he's done. I wouldn't be shocked if he was a healthy scratch tonight, but Dulcich is $200. You need to watch this news. If he is active, to me, he's a must play. You pair him with Russell Wilson in your lineups. There's a reason why the team was down on Albert O. It's because Dulcich was out playing him in the preseason. He will get worked in right away. This is not a team that can sit and wait for a new offensive weapon to get worked in. So I think he's absolutely like the extreme value here.
Wow,
Jeff Ulrich, man. Jeff Ulrich. And once again, and I love giving you 2 props because you 2 are so talented and fantastic at what you do. You both took the Broncos to cover. You nailed that. Even though Jeff liked it more at 4.5, they still were able to cover 4-point spread last night. So congrats on that. But Jeff Ulrich, please react. You've become the biggest Greg. How do you say his last name? Dulcich?
Dulcich.
Yeah.
Dulcich, yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations, man. Why did you know that he was going to do what he did last night?
You know, Emerson, it's just one of those things. When you've been in the industry, I don't know. No, I mean, look, he was getting activated off IR. The tea leaves were there that Albert O was going to get phased out. He did end up being a healthy scratch. Once Albert O was scratched, you knew that Dulcich was going to see some passing downs at the very least. This dude, you look back at his college tape, I dare say, I know it's a tight end, and like every time we bring up a tight end, he looks like Rob Gronkowski, but it kind of looks like Rob Gronkowski out there. So yeah. I mean, it made a lot of sense. I don't know. I mean, look, he got lucky. It was a broken play. He ran like 40 yards. It was great.
Hey, man, sometimes you got to get lucky, but it doesn't matter. You were right.
Yeah, you're right. All right, now let's move on, okay? Week 7. We got a Millie Maker contest, obviously. We're DraftKings. So let's help the people fill out those lineups. Let's start with quarterback. Jeff, would you play Dak if he's in? No Josh Allen on the slate here. Come on.
No, I'm not playing Dak. What the heck's going on? The Cowboys run the ball like 40 times. I'm playing Dak Prescott. Don't try and force me into things I don't want to do, Jesse. Joe Burrow is where we're gonna go. My man came through for me last week, and he gets another week secondary at 6,900. So it's even a nice number. Burrow and the Bengals here, they're not going to be able to run the ball against Atlanta because Atlanta's got a solid rush defense. This sets up very similar to what we saw last week against the Saints. It was a funnel to the pass. What happened? The Bengals had to pass to keep up. Jamar Chase broke through. I think exact same scenarios coming down the pipe here. Atlanta's got an efficient offense. They're going to be able to move the ball. It's just going to force Burrow into more passing in this game. 6,900, everyone's going to be looking up at Mahomes, at Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert, but you're still getting a discount on Burrow, and he's got the big playmaker in Jamar Chase. I like starting lineups. I'm going right back to my guy.
Oh.
All right, Pierce, you're here too. What's your answer for quarterback?
Yeah, thanks for welcoming me in.
Yeah, you're welcome.
No Josh Allen, so let's go with Lamar Jackson. Basically, Josh Allen light facing Cleveland. Cleveland's 31st in DVOA, worst in the league almost at defending the pass. 27th in rush DVOA. They've got all kinds of injuries on the defensive side. Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney. They're missing linebackers. They did get Greedy Williams back, but Greedy Williams hasn't been a good professional player. With Lamar, you don't quite get Josh Allen numbers, but you are getting a 200 passing floor, 2 passing touchdowns per game, 75 yards on the ground. They've got running back issues. This is a must-win game against an easy matchup. I would expect him to live up to his price tag.
Pierce, speaking of running back issues, what do you want to do at this position this week? So Christian McCaffrey, Eckler, Henry, Jonathan Taylor, don't know if he's playing yet, but those are the 4 that will cost you at least $8,000.
Well, we can go cheap here. Let's go back to the Kenneth Walker well. Pete Carroll loves to run the ball. Even last week when the Seahawks had an opportunity to pass, they still chose to run with the unproven rookie running back. And in his first start, he almost got 100 yards, 21 carries. 21 carries is a lot in today's football. So if we're going to get 20 carries out of anybody, especially at this price, you really have to consider him. And he's facing the Chargers, who don't and never have guarded the run very well. They're allowing the most yards per carry. Good matchup. You can also run it back with Austin Eckler in that same game because Seattle doesn't play good run defense either. So both the running backs are in play in this game.
Okay, Eckler, $8,300. Jeff Ulrich, who do you want in the running backs department, man? Who's the start for you?
I wanted to. I'll give a quick shout out to Travis Etienne at 5,400.
Hell yeah!
I gotta go with Josh. Got to give Josh Jacobs here at 6,500. So I don't care if he's going to be chalky or what. The Texans are allowing the most fantasy points per game to opposing running backs. And Pierce just mentioned it. He just made my point. Jacobs is averaging 24 carries over the last 2 games. Who else in the NFL is getting this kind of work at running back? Nobody is. He's even getting work in the passing game. It's kind of funny because the preseason hype on Josh Jacobs was, oh, well, he's just not going to get any work. And McDaniels wants to work in 3 running backs. One injury, and McDaniels realizing that the rest of his running backs all stink and that he needs to ride Josh Jacobs to have a chance at winning games. And all of a sudden, Josh Jacobs is like the most dominant usage back in the NFL. 6,500, this is way too low. You got to start lineups here. I don't even care if he carries 25% ownership or whatever. This is a player who's got a great matchup at home in a must-win game. He's probably going to see 25 touches again.
All right, let's talk wide receivers here. Are you going to be paying up at this position, Jeff?
Not really. I mean, I think there's a couple players in the 6K range that I really like. I'm going to go right back to Chris Godwin. I know he was a little bit of a disappointment last week. You know, he was only 6,100, but he saw 12 targets. The disappointment came because he only converted on 6 of those targets. But look, he had 95 yards. Is 5 yards away from the bonus. He had some red zone targets. This is a player who's obviously working his way back from a major knee injury. I think every week that goes by that you get Chris Godwin off the injury report, you can expect, you know, like a monster game on the horizon here. And we've got Carolina, who they've allowed the 4th most receptions to opposing wide receivers. Their secondary is just not very good. Their D-line's okay, but secondary-wise, this is just not a spot that you need to worry too much about. You've got Tom Brady, out there berating people on the sidelines. He's going to come in angry. He's just going to want this game to be over by halftime and embarrass the Carolina Panthers so he can feel better about himself. And the way he's going to do that is to get Chris Godwin going. I expect another 10-plus target game from him here. And at 6,300 at the very least, he's still too cheap.
All right, Pierce, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams are the 3 wide receivers that are going to cost you over $8K. Do you want to pay up for one of them?
Yeah, definitely pay up, but I will give you a way to pay up by giving you a cheap receiver in Alec Pierce at 4,600. Tennessee 3rd in rush defense, but 29th against the pass. 7th in points allowed to running backs, but 25th most fantasy points allowed to receivers. 31st when it comes to wide receiver number 2. He lost a little bit of his volume last week with Michael Pittman coming back, but with Michael Pittman there and having a big game last week, 13 catches for 134 yards, you would expect the defenses are going to key in on Pittman. And so if you've got a pass funnel and then also a funnel that's probably going to lead to more receptions for the number 2 receiver in a good matchup, so save some money with Alec Pierce.
All right, Jeff, tight end pay up spot because your boy Greg the Egg here is just $2,500.
No, I'm going to go to Pierce is probably going to want to talk about Robert Tonyan. So I'll leave Robert Tonyan to Pierce, but I'm going to go to George Kittle at 5,300. Look, coming off his best game of the season, this is another player who just kind of on the injury road back, had some lower leg issues to begin the year, but we've got a Kansas City, San Francisco game where, you got 2 tight ends in play. One of them's $8,000 and the other one's $5,300. I just don't see a scenario where San Francisco is not going to be able to have to throw the ball a little bit to keep up and get those chunk plays. I think Kittle going up against a Kansas City defense who, allowed a late touchdown to a tight end last week makes a lot of sense. And, Kittle, for all the yards that he's gotten, he's still yet to find the end zone. I think that against Kansas City, him seeing the end zone here makes a lot of sense. And at 5,300, again, you're getting a big discount off what is probably going to be some decent Travis Kelce chalk. So.
All right, we going with Mr. Tonyan here, Pierce.
I can't go with Tonyan. I know he got a bunch of targets last week, but I just can't have the Packers disappoint me again. I'm going to go with Cade Otton. Cameron Brate suffering another concussion, probably not going to be back. Otton played 56% of the snaps last week, 2 catches on 3 targets. But if you go back to the last time he played, 97% of the snaps, caught 5 of his 6 targets, had a pretty strong game. We know that Tom Brady likes to go to his tight ends. We know that Carolina has a bad pass defense. Cade Otton, 6'5", 250. You know who's 6'6", 260? Gronk. This guy could be your next Gronk. You
Hell
never
yeah!
know. He's super cheap. Let's make this thing happen. Cade Otton, cheap tight end.
All right, brother. Good stuff, gentlemen. Appreciate it. We still have multiple more days ahead of us to discuss DFS and bets around the NFL before Week 7 kicks off. But hey, it is like Christmas morning for NBA fans because it is opening night. Boston, Philly, Warriors,
NBA's back,
Lakers.
baby.
The road to 82-0 starts tonight. And what's funny, Cofield, is Warriors will be hanging the banner, and then they will be receiving their championship rings tonight, all in front of LeBron James and company.
Salty.
And I cannot absolutely wait.
Salty AF.
Because, dude, it's been like the NFL, or the NBA rather, has transformed into this like 12-month like headline factory.
Yeah.
It's just all drama. The offseason has been all drama and off-court drama, and it makes you kind of wonder, does the NBA really prefer it this way? And of course they do, because whatever it takes to remain in headlines, the NBA will take it.
Yeah, obviously. And of course, we have our DraftKings $1 million tip-off special.
Yes,
200K
yes.
going to first, so make sure that you enter that. And we are going to help you fill out those lineups. Let's welcome in DraftKings contributor Nick Friar and RotoWire's Nick Whalen. Fellas, NBA tip-off time. We're
Let's
back.
go.
We are back, baby.
Big Nick energy.
Big
all
Nick energy.
morning long.
Yeah. So let's start with your favorite DFS play from the Philly-Boston game. Whalen, start us off.
For me, it's Tyrese Maxey on the Philly side. I was shocked that he's all the way down at $5,000. I mean, you're getting him for like almost half the price of Stephen Curry. I think he's continued to get better and better, now entering his 3rd year. And I do think we see an improved version of James Harden. He's said all the right things. He's done all the right things finally this offseason. So there is some concern that maybe that does take away from Maxey's fantasy potential. But I think these guys complement each other really well. I think James Harden is more comfortable being the distributor type at this point in his career, and I think Tyrese Maxey is more aggressive. He might be the better scorer all around. So I think Tyrese Maxey, sliding him into your lineup at $5,000 tonight, that is a no-brainer for me.
All right, what do we think, Friar? Favorite DFS play from Philly Boston? And you, wow, you look like you're just really enjoying that beach.
Damn, dude.
Yeah,
look at that.
The New Hampshire weather is amazing this time of year. But my favorite play is actually my favorite value play of the night. So I think I want to save that for a little bit later on because there are some high-priced guys in this game that I like quite a bit as well. I think Jalen Brown isn't, this is a clapback season for him. As much as the Celtics had a great year and everything, he did have somewhat of a frustrating end. As much as he tried to power through his dribbling woes, I think we've seen him do that in the past. I know we've seen him struggle in the past. He has clapped back really strong. But I think when you look at the 9K options that you have tonight, you obviously have LeBron, Steph, Tatum, and Joel Embiid, the last of those four being the highest priced guys. I think Embiid's the guy you got to go with. Of course, we know the potential that he brings on the glass, both in terms of scoring. I know the Celtics did well against big men in terms of fantasy production last season, but they don't have Time Lord, and they're a little bit smaller. I know Blake Griffin's going to kind of help, maybe. I don't know. I actually don't know what he's going to do, but I don't think it's going to be all that helpful in stopping Joel Embiid tonight. So I think when you're looking for that star that you're going to build around, I think Embiid's got to be the guy you go with.
Oh, yeah. Blake Griffin. He made like 1-3 in the past 5 years or something like that. Favorite DFS play for Lakers Golden State here, Friar?
Well, if you're doing showdown contests and you're trying to figure out the star to center around, I do think LeBron is the guy here. He's my second favorite of the highest priced guys tonight.
Oh.
But then when you look at but my favorite play in this game in general though is Klay Thompson. A little bit cheaper than Andrew Wiggins. Of course, Steph Curry is the highest priced guy of the bunch. But look, I know that Jordan Poole, everybody has all the hype around him. Of course, the attention because of the punch or the smack, whatever you want to call it. I guess it can't be the slap. But whatever you want to call it, so there's the attention there, but I think we look at the Lakers game plan. They're going to try and slow down Curry. This is a chance for them to kind of set things straight, against the defending champs or whatnot. They're going to focus on Curry. They're going to focus on Poole. Wiggins is going to have his hands full on the defensive end as well. To me, that's going to open up a lot for Klay Thompson, who's making his, starting the regular season off healthy for the first time this decade. So I love him tonight at 6.5K.
All right, Waylon, could the newly paid Jordan Poole be the best option here?
I don't mind Jordan Poole in this game, but I think if you're looking for value, there are a pair of Lakers guards who I really like tonight. And we know that Dennis Schroeder will not be available. Russell Westbrook's going to end up playing, but he is dealing with a hamstring injury. We also have no idea what his role is going to be or how effective he's going to be. So I'm going to be targeting Patrick Beverley at 4,300. He's always been kind of a sneaky, decent fantasy player when the minutes are there, and I think they will be almost by default tonight. And then if you go to Kendrick Nunn, all the way down, he did not play at all last season. So I don't know if this was a clerical error on the DraftKings side or what, but he's at minimum price. I mean, he's $3,000 in this game. And if you watch the Lakers at all during the preseason, one thing that stuck out to me at least is they are going to be relying an alarming amount on Kendrick Nunn being a decent player. And I think they had big plans for him last year, obviously just never fully recovered from that injury. But I would be surprised if Kendrick Nunn plays more minutes than Russell Westbrook in this game. So for me, at $3,000, I think he's going to be really popular, but I'm tossing him in there.
Yeah, and he's priced at the absolute minimum, $3,000 on DraftKings, which does make him extremely appealing.
Yeah, well, let's talk some value. Let's keep talking value here. Waylon, what's your overall favorite value play? I was looking at Derek White. He's 4,100. He was really undervalued during that playoff stretch, and Robert Williams is set to miss time here, so he could be a starter.
Yeah, I don't mind Derek White. I think targeting that Robert Williams absence is really smart though. I mean we heard a lot of Luke Cornett hype early in the preseason.
God.
He's down at minimum price. I mean I'm not saying build your lineup around Luke Cornett, but they need you're going up against Joel Embiid, and this is a Sixers team that has some other bigs behind him. You're going to need legitimate big men in this game. Apologies to Friar. I'm not in on Blake Griffin. To me, it was very concerning. It was very concerning when he chose jersey number 91. Typically, that's not a good sign when a former star does something like that. It harkens back to Baron Davis picking number 85 with the Knicks, things of that nature. It's usually not good. It's a symbol that the end is near. But I do think there's going to be some value there. I mean, even Al Horford at $4,900. They keep saying they want to limit his workload. He's getting up into his mid to late 30s, but they might not have a choice, man. For these first couple months without Robert Williams, I think he's going to be really, really important to that defense. So Al Horford, Grant Williams, maybe even Luke Cornett. And I'll also throw out Tobias Harris, who's like one of the most underrated players in fantasy. He's not exciting, but he's always going to get you like the 14, 7, and 3, and he's not going to kill you.
All right, Nick Friar, favorite overall value play on the slate?
Somehow I'm going to walk out of today's show and be like the president of the Blake Griffin fan club, which I couldn't have been more opposite of that, even when he was on the Clippers jumping over Kias. But you bring up Derek White at 4.1K, and just a little bit more expensive, but still sub 5K, is Malcolm Brogdon. 4.9K tonight in that Sixers matchup. I mean, this is a guy who like could be an all-star at some point in his career. And I understand he's in a different situation where he's not the guy. But for all the doubts that you have about the Celtics coming into this year because of all the messes that they've had with the coaching situation, the one thing I know for sure going into this year is you have a stud sixth man who could win sixth man of the year. I think he's in a great spot right now. The Time Lord stuff, that's not going to impact him either when it comes to all this too. So I love Brogdon at 4.9K. And if he's going to keep being a value play, he's going to be one of my guys I go to night to night all season.
How about this, Friar? He averaged more than one DraftKings point per minute that season, but that was a starring role with the Pacers. So he's
and that's about as many as Blake Griffin put up for the entire season.
Very, very true. Very true. Let's go, before you guys take off, let's go to the DK Sportsbook. Friar, what's your favorite bet tonight? I
love the under in Celtics 76ers as much as there are DFS guys that I like when we're looking at the big contests and everything. Last I checked, it was set at 216.5 points. I love the under here. You look at the movement of the markets at 216 now. I still love that number as well. We saw it 214 this morning. Everything's pointing towards the under here when you look at the market movement. We saw it going down over the past few days. Today was where we got that first spike, but all the sharp money is going towards the under too, despite most of the bets, the percentage of bets going towards the over in this game too. So go with the smart money here. Go with the under.
Waylon, what you want?
I'm looking at that late game, and I am fading the Los Angeles Lakers, who I think are probably going to get off to a pretty disastrous start. I think it's just kind of a waiting game as far as what they end up doing, trading Russell Westbrook and what that package ends up being. LeBron is 0 for 4 in opening night games since coming to the Lakers. All those have come by at least 7 points. That they've lost to the Clippers a couple times. They lost to the Warriors last year. They even lost to the Blazers on opening night in his first year with the Lakers. So this is a team that even when they've had much better rosters, even the year they won the title, they do tend to get off to slower starts. This is a really tough test at Golden State, a team that is significantly better, significantly deeper at pretty much every spot. I think this could end up being a pretty big letdown spot for the Lakers. So I'll be tailing the Warriors. I think the line's at -7 as of this morning. I like that one quite a bit.
All right, good stuff, guys. So happy to have you back. Happy to be talking NBA again. We'll keep doing it all week because we got a small slate tonight, but they'll just get bigger. All right, NHL coming up next. And guess what? This dude, that's not him, but Johnny Gaudreau is playing his first game in front of Columbus fans. We're going to talk about him and if the guys think he's a good play. That's coming up next.
Betting without a game plan is a little like skating a giant ramp without helmet and pads. I wouldn't risk it. And I wouldn't bet without a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook provides you with tools to set a realistic budget and time limits, so you're ready to bet responsibly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook and Casino apps to learn more about how you can practice safe bets.
October baseball is all about wild cards and wild wins, because with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays, you can boost your winnings up to 100% for each additional leg. DraftKings, I think I love you. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up with the promo code, and boost your winnings up to 100% for each additional leg. Action's so good, why bet MLB anywhere else?
Everyone loves an underdog story. You know why? Because it fills you with hope, makes you believe, right? Hold on now. Did you say any team? So now I can bet the overdog for underdog odds? Team Overdog, where you at? Let me hear you.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Bet just $5 to win $200 if your team wins. Action's so good, why bet NFL anywhere else?
Get that Game 7 excitement any day of the NBA season with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports. DraftKings is giving out $1 million in free prizes to celebrate the start of the season. Everyone plays for free, no deposit required. Every bucket, block, and board gets you closer to winning big. Open the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app, draft your lineup, and enter the NBA Free Contest Series for a shot to win big prizes. NBA action's so good, why play anywhere else?
All right, we got a nice, modest 8-game slate around the NHL tonight. We're gonna dive into some DFS plays here with RotoWire's Paul Bruno, along with NHL.com's Anna Dua. Paul, how are we feeling last night, man? How are we feeling this morning after what happened to Toronto against the Coyotes, who seem to really own Toronto in Toronto?
Yeah.
Well, I'm staying away from all the sharp objects in my house. And I gave away the tickets to last night's game, anticipating another loss. So I was right on all counts and playing it safe today.
All I'm saying is Anna, her hot take last week when we were previewing the season was Toronto to miss the playoffs. You have more performances like that against the Coyotes. Oh.
All right, well,
I'm still taking bets.
Okay. Well, let's talk about tonight's 8-game slate. Okay. So we're going to preview it. We're going to start with you, Paul. Who are you going with at center? You said that you're just going to, play it safe today, maybe.
Yeah, and that means going to the high end of the board today because the biggest mismatches are right there. Connor McDavid, $8,500. Draisaitl, $7,800. They should be strong considerations as they host the Buffalo Sabres, who are relying on a 41-year-old goalie in Craig Anderson as their top option back there. The Oilers will be smarting coming from a home loss to their rivals in Calgary, another early upset on the season. So I think they'll be loaded for bear, and the big guys will be leading the charge. Another strong consideration is Steven Stankos, who comes in at $7,500. His team's also struggling. In fact, the Flyers are 2-0 and Tampa's 1-2. I guess they got the stats all reversed in the early going there as well. The teams have come out of the gate with opposite to most expectations, and I see that reverting to form tonight with these teams matching up. I think it's a great shot for the captain to lead the charge for the perennial contenders from Tampa.
All right, Anna, who do you want to play at center for tonight's slate?
I'm going to be a fan favorite on this show very, very soon. Because I'm taking a look at David Krejci of the Boston Bruins. Boston has had a tremendous start. You can barely tell that they're missing pieces in their lineup because they're undefeated and they're having the best start you could possibly ask for. I thought they would be a dangerous team down the stretch. They're a dangerous team to start off the season. And I like Krejci playing with Pavel Zacha. He was a person I was taking a look at this offseason when he moved to Boston because I thought he didn't reach his full potential in New Jersey. He's had a good start. He's on the top power play unit with David Pastrnak, who was also having a good start. So I think David Krejci is my option at center tonight.
Okay, Anna, when you're looking at your options here in the wings and things department, I mean, we mentioned Gaudreau going into break. Jesse didn't even recognize him.
No,
She
I
went
went
to school
BC with him, and I was like, that's not Johnny Gaudreau.
No. So it'll be his first home game in front of Blue Jackets fans. So you're leaning towards him. Is there another player, maybe a little more or a little less you like?
I'm absolutely not leaning towards him. I'm leaning towards someone much less. He's a value pick, but I'm confident in him. I'm looking at Dawson Mercer playing against the Anaheim Ducks tonight. He's currently ranked 4th in the NHL in shots on goal per game. He has 5.50 in that category, 11 total shots. He hasn't found the back of the net just yet, but I'm sure he's going to because the Ducks have had a tough road trip to the New York City area. They gave up 7 to the Islanders on Saturday, 6 to the Rangers yesterday, and the Devils are looking to bounce back from their tough start to the season, and the Ducks might just be the team to let them do that.
Okay, Paul, there's also a few teams playing on back-to-backs, Boston, Anaheim, Vancouver, LA. Let's see, David Pastrnak, I see sitting there around 8-4.
Yeah, he's a little bit more pricey than any of the options I'm considering. I look at a little bit lower than him. Nikita Kucherov, top option at wing for me in the high end of the board, $8,000. As I said, against Philly in that tasty matchup. This guy's an underrated top scorer in the league. You don't hear his name mentioned with some of the other heavyweights, but he's right there year after year. Injury issues have dogged him a little bit, maybe to dampen that profile. I also think the price of $6,100 for Jonathan Huberdeau is very low in Calgary's matchup against Vegas, given their goalie situation there. And we're talking about one of the league's top point getters from last season, so that's a very low price point for UB. And then the Devils, I'm with Anna. I think that's a good-looking matchup for the Devils forwards. I'm looking at Jesper Bratt for $5,100 in that game. Bratt will be having exposure to #1 line minutes and top power play as well.
All right, let's move on down to the defense, to the blue line. Paul, looking here, do you want to pay up for somebody who's a little more expensive, or is this a position you're going to save some money at?
I'm hammering the Flyers line, so I apologize to your Flyers listeners out there, but they're going to get blown out tonight against Tampa, I think. $7,100 for Victor Hedman is another reason why I think that. Could be a high-end Tampa stack in my lineup, in fact. Slide down the list a little bit, though, to two other guys with first pairing minutes on the blue line, getting to quarterback some pretty good power plays. That means Darnell Nurse at $6,100 is a consideration for the matchup against Buffalo, and Quinn Hughes, another guy that's underrated when you think about some of the top scoring blue liners. $5,300 his price tag for a Canucks team that's had a little bit of tough time finishing off their games in the early season, but this guy gets big minutes and quarterback's a pretty strong power play there.
All right, Anna, what do you think? Who do you want to roster on the blue line?
I actually agree with Paul on this one. He mentioned Quinn Hughes there at the end, and Quinn Hughes is my top defenseman pick for tonight just because I think he's very fairly valued, and he's had a good start to the season despite the fact that the Canucks are still yet to pick up a win. He has 3 assists, 8 shots across his first 3 games, and the Canucks are trying to break that losing streak. Who better to break it against than another winless team in the Columbus Blue Jackets who are missing Patrick Laine?
Okay, we'll get you guys out of here with this. Anna, hook me up with a value play for tonight.
I already gave you all Dawson Mercer, but I'm going to give you another value wing who's a little less priced than Dawson Mercer even, and that's Gabe Belardi at $2,800. He's playing against the Nashville Predators. 3 goals, 5 points, 10 shots across his first 4 games. Had a goal last night in that OT win against the Detroit Red Wings. Shout out to the Red Wings, though. Phenomenal game all across the board, and Nashville's coming off against 2 tough games with the Dallas Stars. So Gabe Belardi could keep his rock star start to the season going.
Paul, save us some cash, but hook us up with some points, baby.
For sure. If you want to save some money, take a look at the Edmonton game. You look at Ryan Nugent-Hopkins costing only $4,100, expecting to play top power play minutes along with his regular ice time. I think Edmonton's going to put up a big number tonight. Tim Slutsky has been blanked in his first 2 starts, and I'll be the bad guy for your Boston fans. I think he's going to have a good night against the rivals tonight. $4,000 ahead of that matchup against the Bees. I think he's going to be highly motivated to get some big points this evening. And finally, Michael Granlund is in a great spot, centering Forsberg and Duchesne on the Predators' top line versus LA. I think that's a good look for $3,500.
The undefeated Boston Bruins, Paul.
I know.
All right, guys. Good stuff. Thank you so much. We appreciate having you guys on, as always. The Sweat will be right back to talk best bets for the CJ Cup. Does Jason Sobel think Rory McIlroy could take over the #1 spot in the world?
He's got an opportunity.
I don't know. We'll ask him.
You want to be a showstopper? You want to be awesome? Then you'll want to have a game plan. Whether you're a champion or a bettor, you got to be responsible. Have a realistic budget and bet within your means. Set a time limit, then stick to it. And use the DraftKings Sportsbook and Casino apps. They offer all these tools and more so you can practice safe bets. Can I get a mic to drop?
It's the biggest postseason ever. So DraftKings Sportsbook wants you to win big too. New customers bet just $5 to win $200 in free bets if your team wins. More teams, more games, and a November World Series? Huge. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up with the promo code, and bet $5 to win $200 if your team wins. Action's so good, why bet MLB anywhere else?
Hold up. DraftKings, you're telling me that you're boosting same-game parlays? Well, that's big time. Actually, big is big enough. We're going to need a new word. Jumbo-munganous. No, monstremendous. Gargantuloso. Ah, see? The pink duck gets it.
DraftKings stepped up same-game parlays. Boost your winnings up to 100% for our biggest payouts ever. Action's so good, why bet NFL anywhere else?
What'd you say, Carl?
In 2019, DraftKings and the Larry Fitzgerald Foundation launched the Pinkham program, which has raised over $300,000 to support breast cancer research. Thank you to everyone who has participated in this cause that is dear to my heart, and to DraftKings for pledging to raise another $100,000 this football season for Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. Visit DraftKings.com/surge to enter weekly Pinkham pools all October.
All right, I'm stoked for this because we got Jason Sobel solo. We don't have Jeff Ulrich here to ruin everything when we're talking best bets for this week's PGA tournament, PGA Tour stop. This is the CJ Cup in South Carolina. this is kind of in like the middle of nowhere, isn't it? What does everyone do?
What's it? Congaree Golf Club?
Yeah, like, does everyone fly into Charleston? Jason, like, how do people get here?
Well, they're on their
I think they probably just fly right to the golf course if I know what Congaree is like. This is a high-end, classy type of place. I'm pretty sure if you want to land your plane in the first fairway, you land your plane in the first fairway.
Well, speaking of somebody who's going to be trying to land their plane on the first fairway, Rory McIlroy in the field, baby. Can he take over the top spot in the world rankings with either a win or a solo second finish? He can. He's plus 650 here. Do we think that he can actually do it, though, Jason?
Ooh. So, Jesse, here's the prerequisite for being a number one player in the world. You have to be really good at golf. Yeah. And so when you're really good at golf, you can win any place, anytime. And so, yes, can Rory McIlroy win? If that's the question, the answer is yes. The answer is yes every single time he plays golf. Will he win? I'm certainly not going to the top of the board this week. I think too many unknowns. Congaree was a one-off host of the Palmetto Championship last year. Didn't have a great field that week, but what we saw was sort of a random amalgamation of players near the top of the board. Garrick Higo won that week. Chesson Hadley was right there. Bo Van Pelt was there. That's not really inspiring me to go to the top of the board with the favorites this week. And so I don't know that I necessarily want to fade Rory McIlroy, but he certainly played well. He can certainly win this week if he's motivated to become number one in the world once again. Maybe that will be a factor, but I'm not playing him at plus 650 either.
Jason, this will likely be his last PGA Tour start of 2022, probably, right?
I think so, yeah. Going through the list, I can't imagine he'd be anywhere else.
Right. Yeah, and he's just missed 2 cuts all season, and he's continued really good form there over on the DP World Tour this fall. I know you said you're not too amped up for top of the board here, but we do have 6 of the top 10 in the world rankings are teeing it up this week. So other than Rory McIlroy here, you got current number 1 Scotty Scheffler, right? You got Jon Rahm, you got Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Matthew Fitzpatrick. I mean, which, if any, of the world's best do you have your eye on? I mean, could not even be outright. Maybe another bet for one of these guys.
Yeah, don't mind Colin Morikawa. Hitting it better now. Last week was decent, not great. Didn't really ever get it going too much at the Zozo Championship. But Colin Morikawa right now, last time I looked in the DK Sportsbook, plus 2,600, plus 2,800. Colin Morikawa has 5 career PGA Tour wins. 4 of them have come at unconditionally big prices. And so he's the type of guy that over the course of, there it is right there, plus 2,800. Over the course of the last few years, he tends to win when we least expect it, when the number is bigger. And so I do like chasing Colin Morikawa at a bigger number. Matt Fitzpatrick did play this event when it was the Palmetto Championship last year. I think it's going to be a completely different golf course. It's going to be very fast, very firm this week. It's going to be tough. I do like Fitzpatrick, and I don't know if Victor Hovland quite meets the parameters of that question you asked. I believe is right around the top 10. I like Victor Hovland as well, though.
Okay.
All right, so Jason, this is something we were talking about earlier in the week. Are you going to be fading guys who just played in the Zozo Championship in Japan? It's a long way to go. Like, for example, Ricky Fowler finished second last week and now has plus 8,000 odds.
And you just mentioned Colin Morikawa, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, guys? I used to do this. I used to basically fade jet lag in the fact that, hey, this guy's going halfway around the world. He's going to be tired. He's not going to be up for this event. The way it goes down, these guys travel in comfort. These guys know how to take care of their bodies. They get some sleep when they get there, and they're ready to go the next week. So no, I did not fade anybody last week who went from Las Vegas the week before to Japan, and I won't be fading anyone specifically because they're going from Japan to South Carolina this week. I know it sounds like a long trip. I know if the 3 of us went on this trip, we should try it one day and go play Congaree. I'd be really tired. I wouldn't play my best golf. These guys are not like us. They can still go out and play their best golf.
This is like John Daly back in the day, who maybe on the flight back from Japan is just like ripping beer bongs in the cabin over like his PJ, man. All right, so this is where we really lean on you here, Jay. So which long shots are you targeting this week?
So I think there's a notion, and I've read some content already this week from some betting experts that look at the scorecard. Hey, it's close to 7,700 yards. Boy, really long golf course. You've got to play the long hitters this week. Not so fast, my friends, as someone once said. This is going to be a fast, firm golf course. I think that you can be a short hitter and still contend because the ball's going to just roll down these fairways forever. And so I'm looking at a guy who's a South Carolina native who we know can contend with the best players in the world. He's won big events in the past. Kevin Kisner at that number, I think, is a tremendous play. You can find some guys who are lesser long shots than that, but I think if you're going big, go big. Kevin Kisner, why not? For a little sprinkle on an outright, a couple other names. Taylor Moore's playing some good golf right now. Who else I got? JT Poston is 80-1. And then not quite as long for the long shots, but if you're still looking for a decent number, Aaron Wise, Tommy Fleetwood are a couple guys who have played some very nice golf on fast, firm golf courses in recent years.
Okay.
All right.
Moment
Jason,
of truth.
Moment of truth.
Let's
Who
go.
is your pick to win the CJ Cup?
You know, I love when I get to the final question, guys, and I haven't mentioned that player's name yet. I always feel bad when it's like, you know, hey, it's Rory for every question that you guys ask. And at the end, it's who do you like? And I go, I like Rory. And so that's not the case this time. I've saved my player. I've not said his name the entire time so that I can basically open up the envelope if I had one here. And all right, here we go. All right. Jordan Spieth is my champion this week, 22-1. Jordan, remember the last time he played golf was in North Carolina, Quail Hollow. He went 5-0-0 at the President's Cup just a month ago. This is a thinking man's golf course. This is a place where creativity and imagination are going to come into play often, especially around the greens. There's no better wedge player in the entire world than Jordan Spieth. No better putter in the entire world, I believe, than Jordan Spieth. I think those two things get him to the top of the leaderboard on this golf course. And oh, by the way, he has picked up a lot of length over the past year as well. I know Jordan is typically thought of as a short hitter. If you do believe that 7,600, 7,650 is what this course is going to play like this week, don't necessarily discount Jordan Spieth on a long golf course either.
Yeah, he's got that dad strength now. That's what it is, Jason.
That's right. That's right. Thanks for dressing up today, bud.
Hey, what are you talking about?
All right,
It's a nice
your
little
producer in
hoodie.
our ear saying quick wrap,
Well,
Emerson.
you know, it's Jason's fault.
Do you want me to do it?
Jason, we have to go. Thanks so much, Jesse.
Thanks, Hoodie.
All right, Jason, we love you. Thank you. That's a show. Madden coming up. Slate at 5. We'll be back tomorrow at 11.